Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name's William. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Today we're doing another FSEconomy flight. I bought myself a Cirrus SR22 in the middle of freaking nowhere in the Pacific Ocean. We're on Sand Island, Hawaii, which is right around Midway, and we're going to try and get this thing back to the islands of Hawaii. So we're picking up a job flying. Fortunately, Midway is only about 50 miles away, and we're going to try and figure something out to cross it's like 1,100 miles basically back to the main islands of Hawaii. But join me today for a nice short flight to Midway. I hope you all enjoy. Let's get into it. Alright, welcome on board the Cirrus SR22 here on Sand Island. You can see here in our FSEconomy window, our aircraft is on the ground. We are at Sand Island. We're going to go ahead and start our flight. So we loaded up 3 people. They're paying us pretty darn well too, so let's try and treat them nice. Don't badmouth them too much or anything. We do have, looks like a Mooney or something over there joining us on the ramp. Don't know why they chose to come all the way out here. You'll see what I mean. This is literally in the middle of nowhere. We're actually not going to bother with that pushback. They're going to take forever. But we are in the middle of freaking nowhere, and we're going to have to kind of fight our way to get this aircraft back to the main islands of Hawaii. Should be fun though, either way. A bit of a challenge. So I'll go through, get the aircraft ready for startup. Battery 1 and 2 on, alternator 1 and 2 on. Get our strobe lights on, that way they know that we are starting up. Our mixture is already on full, so we'll go full throttle and we'll prime. We've got good fuel flow. Just let it prime for a moment. Come down and click the prime pump off and just crack the throttle open slightly. We'll put it on boost pump, set our parking brake, and then crank it. Alright, so we got oil pressure, oil temperature's coming up. Make sure we got about 1,000 RPM. Battery looks good, bus volts look good, everything else looks good to me, so we'll go ahead and get our avionics on. We're going to leave the prime, or the boost pump on for now. You can see there is absolutely nothing on this island other than this little tiny runway. And yeah, we're going to be flying over a whole lot of nothing but Pacific Ocean on the way to Midway. I guess Midway is pretty cool, seeing as how it's a big history location, the Battle of Midway and all that in World War II. That's pretty awesome, but I mean, it's cool history. It's interesting to learn about. But yeah, nothing really for us today. So we'll set our local pressure to 30.19 and set it in the standby there. We'll go ahead and set up an initial. Let's see. We'll do an initial heading of just 090. We're using the GPS today, basically. So set the CDI to GPS. I set bearing 1 to GPS as well if I just want that extra option there, and option or wind on as well. So we've got that, just 4 knots, but it is blowing from the other direction. So let's go ahead and get our landing light on, that way they know we are about to start our taxi. And we will disengage our parking brake and taxi out here to the right. Sure we're nice and clear. We will go ahead and back taxi. It's just 4 knots, but the aircraft's quite heavy, and I know I'm used to flying it around really light, so that's one thing that FSEconomy it's kind of nice. You know, I typically wouldn't fly around with the equivalent of 3 passengers worth of weight in the sim, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but for a little plane like that, it's probably going to make a pretty big difference. So we'll go ahead and set that up, and as we're back taxiing here, we'll address some other things as well. We're going directly east, so we could set up an altitude. It's just 50 miles. We'll go 5,000 feet. We'll see how that works initially. We can go ahead and get our flight director on, and we'll engage a heading mode initially. Try and climb out in flight level change mode. So for the departure today, we're going to be looking to rotate around 70 knots and trying to climb out around 110, 115 knots is what I'm going to shoot for. We'll see how quickly we capture all that. See if I can get it pitched out the way I want. So zooming out, you can see absolutely nothing on the map there. And there's absolutely nothing at this little airport. Alright, so we'll kind of come on over here. A little turnaround. Just remember the aircraft's a little bit heavier than what I'd be used to. And with that, you guys have gotten basically an entire tour of Sand Island. I hope you enjoyed. Let's get the heck out of here. Full power. Airspeed is alive. Just trying to hold center line here. Looking for 70 knots. We'll start to rotate. Oh. Backed out of the pressure a little bit too much. Alright, we are climbing. On the rudder a little bit more, trying to keep it coordinated here. Alright, let's pitch down and get through 90 knots. And let's get our flaps in. Alright, flaps in. A little bit more pitch to compensate for that sink. Alright, we'll start a right turn. Kind of want to see an airborne shot here of where we just left. We'll do a right turn. It's not going to be much to see. It's crazy to think if someone actually flew a Cirrus all the way out here. And that is Sand Island, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, look fast, because otherwise you might miss it. And without GPS or something, I cannot even imagine trying to hit a little island like that. Oh man, that's some crazy navigation skills. Alright, so we'll start left. We'll start heading back on course. Get your, make sure your life vests are nice and tight. Hope you brought them, because this is what we're going to be over for the next bit. I guess the nice thing about the Cirrus is you would have the CAPS system, so you probably feel a little bit safer about pulling a life raft or something if you needed to. It'd definitely be kind of sketchy to me flying over the Pacific like this in a single engine plane though. At 50 miles, maybe not as big of a deal, but for some of the hops we're going to have to do as we kind of get hopefully find our way back to the main islands here. And if you don't understand what I'm on about here, FSEconomy is basically this plane gets tracked all the way through. So like I own the aircraft, I can fly jobs with the aircraft, and it's basically an add-on to Flight Sim. And I could pay to have the aircraft shipped or something like that, but where's the fun in that, you know? I could also have someone else move it for me if I wanted to, but I'd rather not.
Engaging autopilot.
Alright, so engage autopilot's on 115 knots is what it's going to try and hold. It's going to climb us up to 5,000 feet. And in all honesty, I'm thinking we're going to actually adjust that. Oh, we'll go up to 7,000. We'll go ahead and engage nav mode as well. Alright, so at this point, I want to go ahead and set up Midway's AWOS, which is 118.325. So we'll tune that up. And the standby frequency here. 118.325. Coming just a little bit. Alright, 118.325. Still got the boost pump on. We're going to go ahead and go over to the right tank. And pull the power back just a little bit. Since we're in the IAS mode or flight level change mode, I feel a lot more confident pulling the power back and not worrying about it, because I know it's just going to nose the aircraft down a little bit if it needs to hold that airspeed. It is really nice, makes it a lot easier to manage. I see what the fuss was about it being quite a bit safer. We got Midway all the way out there now, 42 miles directly off our nose. And at Midway, we can expect runway 6 and 24. We'll see what the AWOS says once we get a little bit closer, get up to altitude here. And a plan for runway 6 at the moment, just because that is straight in. But we'll see. We can also go ahead and get our landing light off at this point. Looks like we got clear weather all the way out in front of us. The aircraft's actually performing really well. We do have 10 knots basically directly on the nose, so that's going to kind of slow us down a little bit. But even at that, once we start leveling out here, we'll start picking up the airspeed. The Cirrus is really fast for what it is. I absolutely love it. Lean the mixture out just a touch. Probably go a bit more, but I still haven't really been able to see any changes other than fuel flow. Alright, coming up on 600 feet to go to the top of our climb. Big old blue ocean. Go ahead and get the fuel pump off at this point. That's one thing I've noticed about using the IAS mode or flight level change mode. It really does start to capture a lot earlier, to the point to where the climb almost dies and then it kind of jumps back into it. It's kind of awkward. It's not a very smooth transition. But for that's a very small part of your climb. For the rest of the climb, I think it's a lot better, so kind of take the good with the bad, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the way it should act or not, but that's the way it is. You can see already, as we're starting to level out, we're almost up to 150 knots true, but with that headwind, we're looking at almost 145. Even with that, our estimated time to Midway's come down to just about 14 minutes, and it's still coming down. So we'll keep the power in. Let's see what we can get out of it, even with this headwind. ahead and bring the mixture back a little bit more. Just looking to see if I can actually see any changes going on, but it looks like everything's just rock steady. It doesn't really make a difference. Alright, so we got it to basically, is that 158 knots, 167 knots true. I'll pull the power back a little bit more. I think we just got a weather update from Midway. The aircraft kind of bumped around. That's also not very smooth. And I think you can see Midway right out there. Nice clear day, makes it nice and easy. But that's 32 miles away right now. That's a lot of visibility. Alright, well, let's sit back and see if we can spot some whales or something. And I guess we'll tune up the weather once we get a little bit closer and get ready for our descent into Midway. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sick of the color blue by now. But fortunately, we do have a beautiful island in front of us. It's so beautiful. So we're going to start down and pick up the weather here.
Alpha Mike Delta Yankee Automated Weather Observation 2200 Zulu. Wind 112 F12. Visibility 7. Sky condition. Few clouds at 600 feet, few clouds at 4,400 feet, few clouds at 12,600 feet. Temperature 24C dew point, 10C altimeter, 3019er. Stop.
Okay, so altimeter's 3019er. We need to pull the power back a little bit here so we don't overspeed the aircraft. But we're starting down. Wind, basically, it's going to be a quartering. It's going to be a decent amount of crosswind, but we're going to want to set up for runway 6. So we'll go ahead and put 060 in the heading bug. So we are set up for that, and that should be right there, basically, is where that runway should be, if I'm not mistaken. So we could just go ahead and cheat off to the right a little bit, but let's continue and just make basically a beeline for the island here in front of us. Also decrease the rate of descent a little bit. Realistically, I'd want to stay higher as much as I could until we got pretty darn close to the island here, just in case anything was to happen. But we'll go ahead and disengage the autopilot. It's had enough fun, and I'm going to be having nightmares about the color blue. And this is nothing. This is just 50 miles. Like I said, the next point is like over 1,000 miles away, basically. There's a small little island in between here and there that we, I think we're going to have to stop at to refuel. But it's going to be a trek, that is for sure. I'm glad to have you guys along for the flight. And if you're interested in getting involved with FSEconomy, or if you're new to it or something, and you need some help getting started out or whatever, feel free to leave a comment or send me a message or something like that. I was heavily involved in it a while back. I've got quite a bit of funds and just getting back into it for the fun of it, so love to have a nice little community of people to fly with, for sure. Alright, so we got the island just right out in front of us. So we're in the descent. Go ahead and go boost pump on. We'll switch back to the left tank. And also set our landing light on. Pretty strong wind out of the east still. It's 13 knots almost directly on our nose. Got to be below 119 for the first notch of flaps. And I think it's 104 for the next one. So we'll continue down through 3,000. We need to kind of level here so we can get slowed up enough to get some flaps out, because we got to get the aircraft a little bit dirty if we're going to make the runway on this pass anyways. There's 119. We'll go 50% flaps here. We'll start down again. Yeah, the flaps just really help us maintain our airspeed, or keep us slow basically while still being able to descend. It's the whole purpose really, is to let you have slower approach speeds. Slower approach speeds and slower rotation speeds. Alright, so we're looking for about 80 to 85 knots here for the landing today. Get back in so we actually have the airport in sight at least. There it is. And just crane our neck over. And see, there is Midway. Alright, so with all the flaps out, we can sink like a stone. Make sure it's full rich there. Should have done that on the descent there, but slipped my mind. It's unfortunate. Alright, so we're kind of, sort of, almost turning final here. Still got a little bit to go, just chugging away. Feels like it's going a bit slower than normal, because we've got a 12 knot headwind at the moment. Going to turn into a decent crosswind once we start on our final here. Alright, so we are a little bit high, but we are on final. Runway 06 at Midway. To start the first process of getting this aircraft all the way back to Hawaii. Up a little. Sit up in our seats so we can see. Coming over the beach. Start to pull that power out. Got a plenty long runway here. nice and smooth. Get back on center line. Crosswinds, man. It's still not exactly sure how much rudder pedal I need. I'm so careful on them too because of how sensitive they are. That is us on the ground here at Midway, so we're gonna make a left. And clear. Alright, so we are clearing the active here. Go ahead and set our brakes. Get our flaps all the way in. And leave our landing light on. Go ahead and turn that off. Don't need it running. And we're gonna... we don't want to go over there. That doesn't look nice. We're gonna go on over to the building over here. There's actually another airplane over there. We got an airplane at Sand Island. And we got someone all the way out here too. I'll actually go park all the way over there with them. I hope you guys enjoyed the flight. If you did, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. If you guys want to see more FSEconomy stuff, make sure to let me know. If you don't, you can also let me know, for sure. Or like I said, if you want to get involved, feel free to shoot me a message. You can leave a comment here. My email's in the description, all that kind of stuff. And also, a username on FSEconomy is just Josh L. All together. So, pretty easy. I said I'd like to make a group and get some aircraft in it so we could have basically a community. You know. Go to get some more people involved and enjoy it's actually really fun. Sand Island, who's gonna fly out of there and have a nice little mission of getting a Cirrus back to Hawaii. It makes it a little bit more fun for me. Hopefully a little bit more entertaining for you guys too. So with that, let's go ahead and loop this thing around right here. Alright, so we'll set our parking brake. That is going to complete our flight. So our flight is now logged in FSEconomy, and we can go through and start shutting the aircraft down. So we'll get our landing light off, go ahead and turn our avionics off, set our boost pump off, mixture to cut off, and Microsoft says, awesome, you did great. And magneto's off there, strobe light off now, and then shut off the rest of the electronics. So that is us parked at Midway. We're gonna have to wait and try and plan it out and see what we can do to get on to our next point somewhere, trying to get back, like I said, to the main islands of Hawaii. So I hope you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you on the next one. Until then, bye bye.